I teach middle school physical education and language and literature.
And I'm Melissa, and I teach kindergarten here at ISD. We've been here for this is our 5th school year here at ISD. And we have 2 kids. We have a 4-year-old daughter that is in pre-K4 at ISD, and we have an almost 2-year-old son.
So my name is Aja Sako. I'm Senegalese American. I have been at ISD this is my 7th year. Yes, I know. I'm a mom, a very recent mom. I have a daughter who's 16 months old. She's actually adopted. She was adopted here in Senegal, and she came home with me, and she was 3 weeks old. So I've known about her since she was 2 days old, and so it's been a very rewarding experience, and also hectic. I think that would be the word I would describe being a mom.
There are a lot of options for childcare in school. We've been lucky enough to see both sides of it. Childcare before our daughter was old enough to come to school here at ISD. So we were lucky enough to have one of the many nannies that are available in the community, highly proficient, wonderfully caring, a woman that's now part of our family. Her name is Agnes. She takes care of our kids and took care of Raina until she was old enough to come to school here at ISD. She started pre-K3 last year.
Yep, there are many options for play groups and creches and bilingual programs outside of ISD. Of course, if you're an ISD employee, you reap the benefit of your child being able to come here, but if you were looking for something a little bit more like culturally emergent or French language speaking, there are also plenty of options available, in addition to wonderful nannies that also help take care of the kids.
There's also some Montessori schools that are here that I looked into, just because I like the inquiry and the play-based learning that some of them have. There's a couple. There's one in Gol, there's one in Almadi, in various neighborhoods around Dakar. There's also what we would call a daycare, but here they call it a creche. And I think in every neighborhood in Dakar you can find that. And so if that's something that you want to do, I'm living in Almadi. And so within my neighborhood, there's at least 3 creches or daycares within the vicinity that I can walk to. And they're bilingual options, and so that's good. If you can afford it, definitely get a helper. So I have 2. I have a nanny who her whole responsibility is just my baby. And then I have someone who is my housekeeper. And I like it that it's separate, so that one doesn't have to be worried about the other and what they do, and the dedication can really be to my daughter. You can do a background check if you want. That's required, to be able, if you feel more safe about that. But usually people come highly recommended, and they've been at it for a long time, and they sort of know how to work with Americans and expat families, and of course each person wants things done a certain way, and that's understandable. But usually you will not be disappointed by someone who comes recommended, for sure. And if you want an English-speaking nanny, that's also available. The person I have now actually speaks English, and the person I had before was speaking French. And so she actually speaks both languages, the current one. So she speaks to my daughter in both, just because I wanted her, we're in a French-speaking country, so I want her to pick up a little bit of the language as much as possible.
So the medical care here is really good. We have a pediatrician that is lovely, speaks English amongst other languages, and she comes right to our house for routine checkups, for all of their wellness visits when they were babies, to do vaccinations, any sort of health checkups when they're sick. We've also needed to reach out to a few different specialists, and there are a variety of options for specialists available within Dakar, and a lot of them, have come with a lot of really good recommendations, English speaking again, or other languages as well. Medication, is easily accessible at pharmacies.
Even in a pinch, last week our 2 kids had high fevers, and in those circumstances, you don't want to go to the hospital late at night, but fortunately for us here in Dakar, the medical care, like Mel was saying, for regular pediatrician visits, but also emergencies, they come right to your door. So everything's just on easy street for us when it comes to medical care.
Yeah, we called and had somebody at our house within an hour.
So since Sadie came home, she's had the same pediatrician, and her name is Dr. Georgette, and I love her because I can, like, at one point she went to like the U.S. for vacation or something, and Sadie got sick, and I'm like calling her on WhatsApp because I'm sure there are other resources, but because I already had a good relationship with her, she was available to talk to me even though she was out of the country. And she has the option of coming to my house to provide her appointments, or I go downtown where her office is located to be able to see her. And I got some input from another family, and so what I did for my helpers at home is I created like a one-sheeter that has all of the medical resources that are available in Dakar. And so there's SOS, which is emergency medical, covered sort of through your insurance, and if you need to, you can call them as a second option after your pediatrician. There's Clinic Madeleine, which is downtown, which our insurance covers, and they take babies as well. There's a certain amount, I think, that depending on how serious the situation is, you might have to pay up front, but you get reimbursed. There's another one that I discovered called Remedy Venkat, and they're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. And so the same thing, they'll come to you in the event of emergency. So I would say Dakar is pretty well resourced when it comes to medical suppliers or doctors or that kind of things for baby. Yeah, it's not something that concerns me at all.
When we moved here 4 years ago, our daughter was 5 weeks old, and everybody told us bring everything because nothing was available. And that was true, and we packed everything in our suitcases and we brought everything with us in our shipment. But thankfully, over the last 4 years, it really has changed, and probably with the growing expat community, there are so many different products that are available here. Lots of different options, a lot of name brands that you'd recognize. Of course, a lot of them are at a price. You're going to pay more for things here than you would in the States, but there are a lot of options available. In addition to, the expat community is a great resource as well, because people are always buying and selling things from each other as the kids are going through the different stages. So it's easy to get toys from other families, or clothing, swapping clothing between other families. So, if you have some brands that you really love, bring them with you. We always bring like our medications, toiletries, things like that, just things that we trust and we know. But otherwise, a lot of things are really accessible here, and you can always find what you need.
Right? So I was called when the baby was 2 days old, and then within 3 weeks I had to get baby gear. So actually, I was already planning to go. I'm from New York. I was already planning to go to New York for the summer before I got the call. And so I ended up going, and I got my baby gear in New York, actually. And then I came back, and it really wasn't really necessary, actually, because I found out as time went on that there's places here to buy baby clothes, good quality, 100% cotton, baby clothes, shoes. There's a store here called Kiabi, which is located in one of the malls, that has the whole selection of baby stuff from 0 to 36, 48 months. There's these groups on Facebook that also provide, and we'll talk about that I guess in a minute, that people are always leaving, and so they're always giving you baby stuff. And so I ended up having more things than I needed because I bought all the stuff back, and then I found that all these resources were here. And so I think if not within the school, definitely through social media, there's always a way to get what you need one way or the other, or get the information and be pointed in the right direction.
So there's a really great parent community here at ISD and in Dakar. There's tons of traveling spouses that are always looking for things to do with young kids, and there's not a huge variety of things for the little ones to do, but you have this really great parent community that takes the initiative to kind of create things for the kids to do. So you have parents that have put together like baby yoga classes or mommy and me swimming classes or lots of little play groups for parents to get together with little ones. And there's a few Facebook groups for parents in Dakar, being pregnant in Dakar, that is just a huge wealth of resources for buying and selling baby things, or if you have a question, or if you need a recommendation for a pediatrician or somewhere to go, or birthday parties, or anything really. It's just a really great community that's full of knowledge.
So I'm a part of maybe 3 or 4 social media groups. There's one called Parents in Dakar, and that's mostly for expats, I feel. I might be wrong, but mostly expats, English and French speaking. But the person who created it is an American. There's another group called Super Mama, which is more, I would say, Senegalese-based parents. And so same idea as the Parents in Dakar, but I think it's broader because there's people within the local community that has access of things that you might not know because you're not a part of that community. So that's another Facebook group. And they're pretty active. Play dates, information about resources, if you need baby gear, if you need a particular medicine. Like right now, for example, I'm supposed to get a vaccine so that when we go to the you buy the vaccines ahead of time, you take it to the doctor, and then they give the vaccine to the child. And I can't find it. It's like out of stock. And so on one of the parent groups, the parents were like, oh, if you go to this pharmacy, you'll get it. And I think had I not been a part of that group, I wouldn't have known that was even an option. I've been looking all over town for that particular vaccination. And so they're very active, they're very, very supportive, lots of information. And if you're someone who engages in social media, I think people are really responsive, to your recommendations or questions that you might have. So definitely, you'll get the help through those social media groups for sure.
I think in terms of West Africa, Senegal has been, for a long time, for us, it feels just an incredibly safe place to be. Here in the city, you really feel it. While we may take safety precautions that any family should, you obviously lock your car door, you lock your house up at night, and you don't go for walks out in the city at night. These are rules that people follow all over the world. You just practice some level of risk management. You don't do some things. You're in a city and you have to respect that, and you and your family are fine. We have security guards at the house that take good care of us, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that we feel like we need them all the time. They're there to hang out with the kids and to greet us at the door and to help us get the car in and out of the driveway. But aside from that, we feel incredibly safe. We've never had an incident. There have been some in the city, but again, you practice risk management. People are out here to help you. When you see someone that you don't know on the street, they're going to say hello to you. People are incredibly warm here. They don't have as much as we do, but they give everything that they have. They offer you food and friendship and their time. That is the most valuable thing you can offer anyone, and they always do that.
Yeah, it really is a baby loving place, and so I've never felt unsafe around here by myself or with my family.
For me, I don't think that safety is an issue at all. I think because this country is very community focused, it's just, I think they're very welcoming of anyone who comes. And so if you come with a baby, it's even more because people love babies here. They really do. And they want to help out. Here in ISD, ever since Saintable came along, everybody asks about Saintable every single day. I think when I step out of here, they're going to ask me again. And I think it's just because the nature of the community and how babies are really revered here, and everybody just loves them. And so I have not felt unsafe at all going out and running errands and doing things with my baby.
This is a super baby kid friendly community. There's tons of faculty kids, tons of kids around the community, like I said, just tons of families, and it really is a very baby kid friendly place to be.
It felt that way immediately. When we moved here, it felt like it was a family friendly place. A great place to start a family, even for those people that are thinking about it.
be open. I think if you come to any new place, you have to there's a bit of open-mindedness that has to come with it. And yeah, your babies will be fine. Really, they will. They will. So I think that's it.